Number one, his wife is the most protected woman in Africa, and almost nobody knows her name. Captain Ibrahim Traoré is married. He has children, but you will not find his wife in a magazine. You will not find her at a state dinner. You will not find her giving interviews on television. You will not find her Instagram account because she does not have one. You will not find her name in any official government document that has been made public, in a continent where first ladies are celebrities, where they launch fashion lines and charity foundations and travel to Paris for shopping sprees. The wife of the most famous young leader in Africa is invisible, deliberately invisible, because Captain Ibrahim Traoré made a decision on the day he took power that his family would not become targets. They would not become leverage. They would not become the soft point that his enemies could use to destroy him. Some sources say her name is Yasmina. Others say Aminata. The truth is that no one outside his inner circle knows for certain. And that is exactly the way he wants it. His children, two, possibly three, have never been photographed publicly. Their names are not known. Their schools are not known. They exist in the most protected silence in African politics. And this is not paranoia. This is survival. Because 5 coup attempts have been directed at him. Because the January 2026 plot included a plan to mine his residence with explosives. Because when your enemies are willing to bomb the house where your children sleep, keeping your family invisible is not a choice. It is the only responsible decision a father in his position can make. Every other African first lady is public. Ibrahim Traoré's wife is a ghost, and that ghost is the most powerful statement about what kind of leader he is. He did not bring his family to the palace to enjoy the lifestyle. He kept them hidden to protect their lives, because the palace is a target. And his family is not for sale, not for display, not for leverage, not for anyone. Number two, he was a geology student before he was a soldier, before the Green Beret, before the fatigues, before the coups and the gold mines and the revolution. Ibrahim Traoré was a science student. He graduated from the University of Ouagadougou in 2010 with a bachelor's degree in geology. He graduated with honors, not average, honors geology, the study of rocks, of minerals, of what lies beneath the surface. The man who would later nationalize Burkina Faso's gold mines, who would build the country's first gold refinery, who would produce 94 tons of gold in a single year, was trained to understand what was in the ground beneath his feet. This is not a coincidence. When Ibrahim Traoré looks at a gold mine, he does not see an abstract economic asset. He sees the geological formation. He understands the ore grade. He knows the mineralogy. He can read a core sample. He knows what the rock contains before anyone tells him. He studied it for 4 years in a university classroom. While his classmates dreamed of working for foreign mining companies, he was learning the science that would one day allow him to tell those companies to leave. And when he tells foreign mining executives that Burkina Faso can mine its own gold, he is not making a political statement. He is making a scientific one. He knows the ground better than the people who came to take what is in it. That geological degree is the intellectual foundation of the entire gold nationalization program, and no one ever talks about it. Number three, his father was a political activist. His mother was a market trader. Ibrahim Traoré was not born into wealth. He was not born into the military elite. He was not born into a political dynasty. He was born in Kéra, a small village in Bondokui in the Mohone province of western Burkina Faso. His father, Baba Traoré, was a political activist in the Mossi community. His mother sold goods in the local market. A village boy, son of an activist and a trader, from a Muslim family rooted in Mossi traditions. He attended primary school locally, then secondary school at Lycée Mixte Dakarville in Bobo Dioulasso, the country's second city. He was not groomed for power. He was not prepared for the presidency. He was prepared for survival. And survival in the Sahel requires something that no political science degree can teach. It requires knowing what it feels like to have nothing and being willing to fight for the people who still have nothing. Number four, he was a student activist who studied Marx. At the University of Ouagadougou, Ibrahim Traoré did not just study rocks. He studied ideas. He was an active member of ANEB, the National Association of Students of Burkina, an organization known for its Marxist orientation. He was also a member of the Association of Muslim Students. Marx and Islam, revolutionary theory and faith. These are the two intellectual currents that flow through everything Ibrahim Traoré does: the nationalizations, the rejection of foreign capital, the belief that the state must control the means of production for the benefit of the people, that is Marx, the discipline, the austerity, the refusal of luxury, the belief that leadership is service and not reward, that is faith. His professors introduced him to anti-colonial thought, to Frantz Fanon, to Kwame Nkrumah, to Amilcar Cabral, and to Thomas Sankara, the man whose revolution he would one day complete. The ideas were planted in a university classroom. They grew in the trenches of the Sahel, and they flowered in the presidential office that Ibrahim Traoré refuses to decorate with anything except a military map. Number 5. He was cited by the United Nations for bravery in combat. In 2018, while serving with MINUSMA, the United Nations peacekeeping force in Mali, Lieutenant Ibrahim Traoré was cited as one of the soldiers who showed courage during major rebel attacks in the Timbuktu region. This is not a self-reported claim. This is not government propaganda. This is a United Nations citation, the same United Nations that Western governments claim to respect, the same institution whose reports Western media cites as authoritative. That institution looked at Ibrahim Traoré's combat performance and said, "This man showed courage." He then returned to Burkina Faso and fought in the insurgency at Djibo, in the Otapuanu offensive of 2019, in multiple counterinsurgency operations in the north. He was not a headquarters officer who gave orders from an air-conditioned room. He was a field officer who slept in the dust and fought beside his soldiers. When he became president, his soldiers already knew him, not as a politician, as the man who had bled beside them. That is why they follow him. Not because of his rank, because of his record. Number 6, he told mining companies they offered him hundreds of millions, and he refused. In an interview with the national broadcaster of Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré said something that no sitting head of state has ever said on camera. He said mining companies offered him hundreds of millions of dollars to keep their licenses. And he said no, hundreds of millions, not thousands, not tens of thousands, hundreds of millions of dollars offered to a man who earns $3,000 a year to keep the system running, to let the gold keep flowing out, to look the other way while foreign companies extracted the wealth of his country. He refused. He said if he was greedy, he could have been a billionaire by now. A billionaire. That is the scale of the money that was on the table. And he walked away from it. Think about what that means. Every president before him, for 60 years, said yes, every single one. The money was offered, the money was accepted, the licenses were maintained, the gold left, the people stayed poor for 60 years. And the first person to say no is a 34-year-old captain who makes $3,000 and sleeps in a barracks. And it was not just the mining companies. He also said the French government offered him money, the same French government whose troops he expelled, the same French government whose CFA franc system he is dismantling, the same French government whose language he dropped as the official language of Burkina Faso. They offered. He refused, because Ibrahim Traoré understood something that his predecessors either did not understand or chose to ignore. The money is the leash. The moment you accept the first payment, you belong to them. You work for them. Your loyalty is purchased. And when they need you to sign a mining license that gives them 90% of the gold, you sign it because you already took the money. Ibrahim Traoré never took the money, so he owes nothing. He serves no one. He is free. And that freedom, that simple financial freedom that comes from saying no to hundreds of millions, is the foundation on which the entire revolution is built. Not ideology, not philosophy, not speeches. A paycheck of $3,000 and a no that was worth billions. Number 7, he dissolved his own government overnight. On December 6th, 2024, Captain Ibrahim Traoré dissolved his entire government. Every minister, including the prime minister, gone in a single night. No warning, no transition period, no negotiations. The next morning, A new government was formed. New ministers, new prime minister, new priorities. The message was unmistakable. No one is safe. No one is irreplaceable. No one's position is guaranteed. If you are not performing, you are gone. Tomorrow morning. This is not how democratic governments work. In a democracy, cabinet reshuffles take weeks of negotiation. Coalition partners must be consulted. Political debts must be paid. The result is that incompetent ministers keep their jobs because firing them would cost political capital. Ibrahim Traoré has no political capital to spend. He has no coalition. He has no party. He has no patronage network. He has a mission, and anyone who does not serve the mission is replaced. Overnight. Number 8. He graduated as the vice major of his military class. When Ibrahim Traoré attended the Georges Namoano Military Academy in Po, he did not just pass. He graduated as the vice major of his class, second in his entire cohort. This is not a man who stumbled into power through luck or tribal connections. This is a man who was the second best student in his military academy. He was then sent to Morocco for specialized anti-aircraft training before being transferred to an infantry unit in Kaya. He was promoted to lieutenant in 2014, then to captain in 2020, a steady, disciplined rise through the ranks, not through politics, not through connections, through performance. Number 9, the people come out at midnight to defend him. Every time a coup attempt has been reported, something extraordinary happens in Ouagadougou. Ordinary citizens leave their homes at midnight, in the dark, in a country where jihadist attacks happen regularly, and they fill the squares and roundabouts of the capital. Not because the government tells them to, because social media groups organize spontaneously, because they have decided that this revolution is theirs. This has happened during every major security threat since 2023. The people form a human shield around their president, around the government buildings, around the revolution, in the dark, at risk of their own lives. This does not happen for a leader who is feared. This does not happen for a leader who bought loyalty with money. This happens for a leader who is loved. And the love comes from one place: the $3,000 salary, the barracks, the fatigues, the refusal to become what every previous leader became. In January 2026, when the fifth and most dangerous coup attempt was detected, the people of Ouagadougou received the news through WhatsApp groups and social media. Within an hour, the streets were full, not with soldiers, with mothers, with fathers, with students, with market traders, with taxi drivers, with the same ordinary Burkinabe who wake up every morning and go to work in a country that used to be the seventh poorest on earth. They stood in the dark, they chanted his name, they formed human chains around government buildings, and they stayed until dawn. No government paid them, no party organized them, no propaganda machine told them to go. They went because they decided collectively, spontaneously, at midnight, that this revolution is worth defending with their bodies. Find me another leader on this continent whose citizens do that. You cannot, because no other leader on this continent has earned it. Number 10, he said the most dangerous sentence in Africa. In September 2022, days after taking power, Captain Ibrahim Traoré said 7 words that changed the continent. He said, "The people who are told they cannot are the people who do." That sentence is dangerous because it is true. It is dangerous because it applies to every African country. It is dangerous because every African who hears it immediately understands what it means. And it is dangerous because the entire Western economic and political system that operates in Africa depends on Africans believing that they cannot mine their own gold, cannot refine their own ore, cannot feed their own people, cannot build their own infrastructure, cannot manage their own affairs, cannot survive without foreign money, foreign companies, foreign soldiers, foreign permission. Ibrahim Traoré looked at that entire system of cannot and he said can. And then he proved it with 94 tons of gold, with zero debt, with food self sufficiency, with a domestic refinery, with a $64 billion development plan, with $3,000 a year and a pair of green fatigues. The most dangerous man in Africa is not dangerous because he has weapons. He is dangerous because he has an example. And examples, once they exist, spread. They cannot be contained, they cannot be unproven, they cannot be killed. You can kill a man, you cannot kill a proof of concept. Those are the 10 facts: the hidden wife, the geology degree, the village childhood, the Marxist student years, the UN combat citation, the hundreds of millions he refused, the overnight government dissolution, the academy vice major, the midnight human shields, and the most dangerous sentence on the continent: 10 facts, and not a single one of them was taught to you in school. Not a single one appears in the headlines that call him a dictator. Not a single one is mentioned when Western analysts discuss Burkina Faso. Because these facts do not fit the narrative. The narrative needs him to be a power hungry military strongman. The facts show a geology student from a village who fought in the trenches, who refused billions, who sleeps in a barracks, whose wife is invisible because he loves her too much to put her in danger, and whose citizens defend him at midnight because they have never had a leader like him. The narrative is a story someone wrote about him. The facts are the story he wrote about himself, with his actions, with his salary, with his life. If any of these facts surprised you, if you learned something you did not know, then this video has already done its job. Like it, subscribe, and share it with every person who thinks they know the Ibrahim Traoré story, because they do not. Not yet. Not until they have seen this list. I am Amara Diallo. I will see you in the next one.